Well, this is all good.
Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Swaggy, Dr. Kush. And this is your secondary host. Or
Secondary.
your other host. Your
Okay.
other
I'm
host.
glad. Oh, yeah, that works.
Mr. Doctor. What's going on, Doc?
So, for people watching, because I am the one recording this, what you're going to see in a second, what you've just seen is Swaggy freeze and then suddenly come into it. And you know what? Just because of how much of a shell shock that was to me, I think we're just going to keep it in.
Yeah, you did the same thing for me, so I'm wondering how it's gonna come in on recording.
Yeah, like you just stuttered randomly on the recording and decided to then just come in suddenly. So I think we're going to keep it.
If it's messy, it's messy. Let's
If it's
fucking
messy,
go.
it's messy. Let's go. Yeah, this is
Let's get
PrimeTime
into it.
Post-Mortem. We are here to dissect which card I've completely...
Everything.
Yeah, there you go. PT 114,
PT
PT 115, and the Pride Era stuff. Those are the three minimum requirements on today's nightly chat of PrimeTime and all things UFC 5.
Yes! Fucking get into it. Let's get into it first off first
who we getting into?
With Caliber dominated Fran. And coming into this fight, I was leaning more on Fran winning because I mean, hey, it's Fran. Like he's the man. Like, hey, it's Fran, right? However, that's not what happened. Caliber beat the brakes off of him. It went to decision, and some may say it was kind of closer than you think, Swaggy, but no. Caliber dominated. Nothing against Fran. I think Fran will come back fine. However, Caliber dominated.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair enough assessment, but words. Fran is a striker. Fran is a pure striker. They came in around the same time as Ali and Easy Work, and so it's really interesting to see the discrepancy between all three of those fighters because they're all built from the same cloth but have turned out very differently. Easy Work's very well-rounded part of that BFAP camp. He's still grappling pedigree, but is also in more built on the towards Trixie's type of fighting style. Then you have Ali DP, who was originally a striker, as far as I'm aware, but the more and more we see him, the more and more we've seen him turn into a grappler who's been dominant. And then Fran's a fighter who reminds me maybe a bit of the Pug during his Xbox days, before he joined PS, in which he's consistent, has a couple of holes, but he's consistently good at pressuring people and making life difficult for them.
I agree with that. I do agree with that, as to where like they all kind of came up in a situation like that. However, it doesn't take away from the fact that Caliber purely dominated. He even had some dominating moments in the striking.
Caliber's in the striking moment. He's part of the Kang group. They've got members like Intro, Cold Blooded. If people still know who that name is, he hasn't really been that active, sadly, but he's a golden striker himself. So, I mean, although people a lot of the time assume Caliber's more on the grappling base due to his previous fights, especially against people like Fad, I mean, his striking's still there and he can still cause hell on earth for people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. And while I'm talking about domination, I don't even know who he was fighting, but I have written down in my notes Lepo got dog walked.
What luck?
He was fighting what luck? Poor Lepo, man. Lepo's just getting thrown in with
poor
the dogs.
Lepo. This man was asking for a replacement and got it at about very short notice. Like, can we just point out how many replacements we've got on this card? We had 4 separate replacements, half of which were very short notice. It was kind of mental.
Yes, like the Josh and CX fight, which I'm just gonna get away from the Lepo because I feel bad. Lepo's been dog walked like what 4 weeks in a row now. Poor guy, man.
Leave Lepo alone.
However, Josh and CX, he's great. My Alaskan king. However, Josh versus CX. CX was working with Rumble in the beginning, man, but then Josh connected and just he knocks him out in the first round, and that's a fight that CX. I think 10 minutes. It was like 10 minutes time. CX took the fight on a 10-minute short notice.
Yeah,
he stepped in the cage.
Say about that.
A lot of these guys, a lot of the first couple of fighters.
We had B3 Wavy showing up against Brazil Lucas. Yeah. He did it.
That was a grapple.
That was a
grapple fest.
Yeah, no,
oh my god, that was a grapple fest. We were like, what the fuck is going on? That was a grapple fest, absolute grapple season. But all because of Lucas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lucas Brazil. He is going to be known this coming year as PT's best grappler. I'm just gonna, and I know it's
What, better than Buck?
dog pound. Yes, I know it's a dog pound of grapplers.
I mean,
But
you
Lucas
have
Brazil's
Spooky, who we haven't, which, if I remember
Lucas Brazil's
correctly,
that fucking guy.
Whatluck beat Spooky in his last fight.
Yes, he did.
Which means I'm even more interested in Whatluck now, because Spooky's kind of well known for being a decent grappler on the ground. So Whatluck doing that, having his performance against Lepo, maybe we hopefully get to, maybe, I say hopefully, we get to see Lucas versus Whatluck in the future now, I suppose.
That would be crazy because Lucas is a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on though, one of my favorite fights of the card, and I think one of the most exciting moments of the card, and I think one of the most exciting moments of the night was a fight between Snow Jack and Ice.
Who?
Kevin Lee, Snow Jack versus Ice. It was Kevin Lee versus Connor.
Oh, that would be Odran versus Davey Butler then. I don't know who. You may have written down the GTs by mistake. A lot of these guys don't go by their GTs. It's kind of painful.
Damn.
Right.
All right, I did write down the gamer tags by mistake. So whoever Jack was,
Jack is Davey Butler.
Okay, Jack was Butler. He used Kevin Lee,
Mm-hmm.
and Odran used Conor
McGregor.
McGregor. And after the fight, you would think Conor won that. He didn't. And me and Jay Dime were questioning the entire time, why the fuck is this guy using Kevin Lee? What the fuck is going on?
Because he needed to find out where Kevin Lee fit into everything, and he did.
And
he found
dogged
out where
him,
Kevin Lee fit into this.
He dogged him on the striking, and he dogged him on the ground. And then he proceeded to turn his mic on and say, Kevin Lee is the best in the game.
Didn't he later then go and play Kevin Lee and go, he's actually mental?
I then tested it. I was on the game, and I used Kevin Lee, and I won like 4 fights in a row with Kevin Lee. And I realized Kevin Lee's fucking broken. You can't beat Kevin Lee. You can't lose with Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee's fucking broken. He's the meta. He's the new fucking meta. He's the UFC 5 meta.
He's the new meta. I mean, that's going to bring us greatly into a great little segue here. Let's talk about the new alter egos added. Like, you want to talk about Kevin Lee being the meta in lightweight? Will Nick Diaz at lightweight now be the meta? That man has got some stats on him, and he's got rubber guard, and he's got every sub possible apart from heel hooks, which I'm kind of sad about, but I also understand.
So I used him yesterday, and I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I like his striking way more than like the regular Nick Diaz striking. Mm-hmm. I really fuck with the Pride striking. The animations are like different-ish. I really fuck with the fighter style and like everything with the new Nick Diaz. I haven't used any of the other fighters.
I've yet to use them. I think I did one AI match when trying to do a contract with Shogun Hu. He seems very fun. His stats overall are incredible. I know they've added Dan Henderson at light heavyweight, and his stats are cracked.
That's the one that I'm like undeniably excited for because his H-bomb, his overhand called the H-bomb in the Pride days was fucking, you couldn't eat that shit. Like even when he got to the UFC, you couldn't eat that shit. So like I'm just gonna be on Dan Henderson spamming overhands.
Man went from 3.5 stars to 4.5 in one update, and he's just cracked.
Nah, that Dan Henderson,
his health stats are ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. I looked at all the stats. The Vondelay is ridiculous too. They made all of them really good. I'm surprised there wasn't a Chuck. But
that's a good point.
Maybe we'll get it in another update.
Rampage. Did Rampage compete in Pride? Or was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Maybe we can get Basrutin in the game. I'd love to use Basrutin. Not gonna lie.
Basrutin would be cool.
I know I had him in UFC too. Sakuraba
you
as
did
well.
Get Overeem back, so that's sad.
Ubereem. I haven't really looked at him. Have you? Do you know his chin health top of your head?
I'm not sure, but I
Ah,
know
fair
he's a monster.
I mean, they're all monsters. It was a really nice alter ego update. I mean, the update that we have got, I mean, the patches, they did help. Side control's a bit less nerfed. We can talk about that. I don't think we have actually talked about that. Is the
Yeah,
update,
I think we talked about it last
did
week.
we? Maybe. I
I
mean, my
think
memory
we
just
went
may
over
be
it.
shot.
And I know we talked about it a little bit on the card.
Mm.
And I had a couple people in chat saying, because when Jay asked me how I felt about the update, I said that UFC 5 got robbed of Game of the Year. And the camera wasn't on, so y'all may have confused sarcasm with, I mean, you may have thought I was being serious. I wasn't. I know I sounded serious, but like
The
I could
update's
win an
gone in a
Oscar.
good direction, I think, personally.
All right, listen, it fixed some things, but there's other things that are still broken that they're not even
Oh,
saying are broken.
don't worry. I'm still like annoyed at online career mode. Like online career
And
mode with the calves not moves up, not correctly updating with the animations is driving me up the wall. But yeah,
I've been digging into the entirety of a whole, and if my information's correct, and multiple game changers have told me this, the budget from UFC 4 was the exact same or maybe a little bit higher than UFC 5's budget.
yeah. I'm.
That's why like we haven't gotten anything new or anything. But at least now
I'm gonna
I
say
have
it
a little bit
was
more love for the
probably.
devs.
I'm gonna say the fact that they've
The
transferred the
devs
game
are
over. Yeah.
they're trying their best now with the alter egos and shit, actually giving us stuff that's like useful
I'm
and
gonna say
stuff we
I'd say
want.
the alter egos are lovely. Like for saying what they for saying if as you said their budget probably hasn't increased. I mean that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
The budget evidently hasn't increased, and we're porting it over to a new engine. That's a big enough budget take up as it is. There's very little they can do, and even the fighters they did add into UFC 4, they could have not added into UFC 4. They could have waited, but instead they gave us into UFC 4 until the last couple of months when then they would probably looking at finishing the final project for UFC 5. And the fact we've got 5 alter egos this month. We had 2 last month. We started the game off with a bunch of them in the Origins bundle. And then on top of that, you've got 2 new fighters, 3 more coming, and then 5 more in Feb, and plus not including new alter egos. I say that's really good content for just fighter wise, personally.
Yeah, and there's no absolute confirmation on this, but I did see polls going up from Romero asking about who we would want to see added to the game in
Yeah.
March. So I do think they expect to continue adding fighters throughout the year.
Oh no, I 110% think because at no point did they ever stop with UFC 4 adding fighters. I think they're going to continue to
Yeah.
add fighters, hopefully at a higher pace. It's just a case of when are they going to stop mainline patches. The game's in a decent state. Don't get me wrong, but it needs a lot of work. The stam still needs working, bodywork still needs working, subs, especially after subbing someone, needs a bit of tuning. Ball heading mount, I would also argue, definitely needs a bit of fixing. But the game's going in a good direction, even with all the content, even with the patch. I have seen a couple people complain about how they put stand back up in like above Div 15, but like, come on, it's the subsystem. You need to be able to see your opponent's stamina. I was never too keen on like hiding your HUD when it came to those higher divs anyway.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I just hope they don't stop fixing stuff until it's all fixed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we got
However,
rid of HUD
moving
watching.
on. Yeah, they did get rid of HUD watching, and they
So,
got
I
rid
mean,
of
that's
some
a
of the
good
other
one.
cheese too.
What
So
was the
that's
other
a
cheese?
good.
They fixed
That
Standing
well,
Gilly.
the knee elbow. No, Standing Gilly didn't get fixed. I don't
Standing
think.
Gilly is fixed, so it no longer stand.
Standing Gilly is fixed.
Yeah, Standing Gilly got fixed like on one of the early patches, so it didn't
Oh.
drain. So if you walk someone around, their stand didn't get drained, or I think it drained at an equal amount, something like that. So
Yeah. However, yeah, they are trying.
they are
They are
definitely
trying. But
trying.
moving on. moving back to PT 114.
Moving back to PT, yes. The one that is run by...
There's just a couple fights that I think we should cover real quick.
Let's hear them.
Along with Frosty versus Abdul. Because that showed Abdul's longevity in this Xbox division against
We finally figured out what the fuck he is.
Like Frosty, and yeah, Abdul's a grappler.
Yeah.
Abdul had a gorgeous triangle choke finish or triangle finish. It was amazing. However, we won't see him compete for 2 weeks because he's a dumbass. But that's all right.
You mentioned it, so we might as well talk about it. Okay. So Frosty was a very late notice replacement. This fight happened very, very short notice. The way we run fights is we allow higher rated to ban a fighter, lower rated to then pick a fighter, and then his opponent picks a fighter. Once you state a fighter, you can't change that fighter pick unless your opponent agrees to it. Now, what you can't do is edit that message you've sent. And that is where the issue lies. Now, as PT, we rely on fighter integrity, and we ask for everybody to stick to those rules that are given to them. If you don't, then you will suffer consequences. I've spoken to Abdul myself. I had this discussion, so he completely understands, and he understood the issue raised up. That does mean, though, the win does stand. So Abdul is still 3-0, but just at future, and I mean for anybody else out there who's looking to compete, if you're looking to compete at this high level, you've got to at least make sure that when you say a pick, you mean that pick. Because we don't ask for it instantly. You can have some time to think about it, but once that pick has been stated, Swaggy, you're kind of stuck with it unless your opponent agrees on a swap. That's the way we've always run our rules so far.
Yeah. I knew that. I was aware of that, and I'm sure other people were aware of that. And it's all right. Abdul understands, and Abdul will be back in 2 weeks. It was just it was an impressive win over Frosty.
Yeah,
Frosty's another one.
I'm gonna say that's nothing to take away from the fight. That really isn't. It's a very good fight, very well done, very well performed, executed perfectly with a game plan. But sometimes stuff happens, and we have to deal with it that way.
But when he comes back, he's going to be an absolute sleeper pick for any fight he's in. Now we're going into Vanio versus Ripe, who Vanio's actually challenging for a title this weekend.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. The joys. So, if you remember all the way back at PT 114 or 130, or what are we talking about? I've lost my head.
We're talking about 114 right now.
Okay, 114. So 113, Vuk and Naz originally won. Those two were going to be in the number one contender fight, but Vuk said he wasn't available for this week if he did win. Naz said he would be available, yada, yada, yada. Anyhow, so you end up running Naz versus Kahan. Those two had some bad blood, absolutely mental. Then what proceeds to happen? Naz isn't available, sadly. So we have to go to the next best one. Vuk still isn't available. So we go to the next best one, which is Vanio. So now Vanio, who's deserved a shot. I mean, he's gone 3-0. Like, it isn't undeserved. But it just, he's gotten extremely lucky. He may have needed 1 or 2 more wins. But now he's up in that title picture, fighting Vanio after beating Ripe at lightweight, which... I mean, do you want to talk about that fight as you were talking about? Read off your notes and stuff?
Yeah. Low-key, the entire fight, all the way up to round 3, it was Ripe's fight. Ripe was up 2-0 going into the third round. And I say that because Vanio started the fight with good, beautiful, great groundwork. Ripe gets up and fucking rocks him, like stuns him a couple times into the first. Moving into the second, Ripe absolute slumps him, like slumps him to the point we thought the fight was gonna be over, and it wasn't. They got back up. He dropped him again, and then he gets taken, and then they get up, and Ripe gets taken down right away. and he gets like a crazy, like beautiful reversal in scramble, and ends round 2 with beautiful ground and pound. So Ripe was up in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vanio gets a fucking beautiful finish. He just lets the dog out. He just lets the dog out in the 3rd round. Something we haven't seen all fight, and just fucking comes out and tortures Ripe and gets the finish. And Ripe's an amazing fighter. I was kind of surprised that Ripe choked like this, but it's Vanio, and I now am familiar with Vanio's game. He is a late round fucking mastermind. He's gonna pull you into the deep waters and knock you the fuck out when you don't expect it.
Well then.
So I'm excited for him versus Smudger.
So,
Because of that reason right there, he lets the dog out late. We haven't seen him in a 5-round fight.
Indeed, we haven't.
Will we see Vanio? Will we see Vanio with a Leon Edwards head kick round 5? Like,
well, you want to talk about fighter picks?
We're not that far, Doc.
Okay, well then we'll talk about fighter picks. So
we gotta move in the fight of the night first.
Oh, do we? What is our fight of the night?
It was Intro versus Kenmir.
Oh God, those two. Jesus, wow, that was a war and a half. Isn't Kenmir on the number 1 contender for this match? Yes,
that
he
was
is.
A fucking
that was
war.
I mean,
that was a
it
fucking
kind of what
war.
happens when you have a fancy striker versus a guy who despises takedowns. And like when I mean despises takedowns, I don't think the guy knows the takedown input button.
No, definitely not. It was rock after rock though. They just continuously rocked each other. It was a really good fucking fight, and it was like if Intro wasn't rocked, Kenmir was rocked.
Nobody and if neither really, of them rocked, they were on the floor unconscious.
Yeah, nobody really bursted ahead in this fight. Like they were just kind of both like dogging each other, and then eventually,
what were the picks?
Who won? Kenmir won. I can't even remember.
Because it's a featherweight, so it must have been what, McGregor versus Holloway or Volkov to Poirier.
It was something like that. I know it was a dog. I know it was a dog fight.
Everybody's a dog, according to you, though. Everybody, including a dog.
PT is full of dogs. PT is full of dogs.
It's full of killers. Yeah, it is absolutely full of killers.
Yeah, nah, this podcast full of dogs. The booth always got at least 2 dogs in there because J-Dime a puppy. But moving forward.
Your own commentating guy.
Listen, I didn't insult him in the comms booth.
But you're insulting him now.
I can insult him here. This is our safe space, Doc.
Well,
our safe
it's
space.
our safe space. Oh, God. Jesus.
Moving on into Vuck versus Thunder.
I mean, if we ever needed a clip section, I know definitely what to clip now.
I'm going to skip over Vape versus Playboy because, yeah, it was a good fight, but...
not good enough for Swaggy, apparently.
It wasn't good enough. I'm skipping over stuff here.
Wow.
We got a lot to talk about. I want to go into Vuck versus Thunder.
We've been going on for like 20 minutes, so yeah.
Playboy did win, by the way.
Yeah, Playboy did win. He was meant to be a number 1 contender, but sadly he wasn't about, so...
All right. Shout out to Playboy, because I am now familiar with his game as well. However, Vuck versus Thunder...
Just stick with one name, please.
Vuck versus Thunder. I'm familiar with both of their names. They're fucking... They're incredible.
Rolling Thunder has got a Rolling Thunder. Vuck.
They're both dogs. And
damage.
they the fight started, and now you know what's gonna happen when I start speaking about the fight. And yes, you're right. Vuck literally took him right down. He said, "No, we're not doing this today.
Didn't I call for this like last week? I feel like I called for it last week. Like, if you're gonna fight Rolling Thunder, you shoot a takedown.
I called you stupid. And then I said
you
it
called
won't
me
work.
stupid on a different fight, which we'll bring up in a second.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, no, we'll talk about that. But so Thunder gets up. Thunder blocks the first takedown. He doesn't even get taken down. He blocks the first takedown. Beautiful defense. But Vuck doesn't care because Vuck takes him back down and gets an armbar in, and Vuck wins.
Vuck is who's the guy who shoots nonstop? Marab, there you go.
Yeah, that was fucking nuts. And then before we get to which I'm gonna get roasted for the main event. But Naz versus Kaihan.
Kaihan. Not Kaihan. I don't know why you pronounce it Kaihan. There's no I, it's an Y.
Naz versus Kaihan.
Kaihan.
Listen, he hangs out he's a swagger. He hangs out in the Swaggy streams. I call him Kaihan. He's never corrected me.
Okay. I can't. How the hell did you get Kaihan from that? It's not.
All right.
I'm gonna say it sounds closer to the pepper, like cayenne
Right,
pepper, or whatever the fuck it is.
So Kaihan,
Kaihan.
he starts off very strike heavy,
Yeah.
like crazy fucking strike heavy. Then Naz stuns Kaihan, and it's all downhill from there. Naz is throwing in ambas. Naz is throwing in random subs. And then Naz murders him. Naz gets the dub. And Naz was not available to fight Smudger this week.
What? Didn't Naz also fight Glove front kick him in the face?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So Naz played Naz.
Naz tried to. It didn't work. It didn't work. He tried to, but Kaihan's smart. He knew it was coming. You have to know it's coming at this point.
I mean, if you know it's coming, why don't you sidestep it? Sidestep, lead hook, done.
Well, no, I wouldn't even put my fist out at that point. I'm gonna kick him while he has his fist out.
I mean, like, if he's got fucking, like, if Naz is notorious for, like, the fake glove touching, why wouldn't you go for the glove touch, then you sidestep, and then you throw a lead hook?
No, I guess you're right.
Don't know.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
That sidestep would work. However, moving on.
Swag's entire theories have been thrown out the window suddenly.
To the main event.
The main event of the evening.
Mix-ups.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. The one where I was correct and you were wrong, even though I got the winner incorrect.
Did you just hear yourself say that? All right. No. You were still wrong, Doc. All right. You were still wrong. Mix-ups won 2 rounds.
Yeah.
He got his stam low, and then Fatinator ended the little dream that Mix-up was having.
Him as he was going down.
Mix-ups was dreaming. He was in dreamland, beating the brakes off of Fad. Beating the dog shit out of Fad. And then you know what Fad did? You know what Fad did with that head kick? He woke his ass up. He said, no.
I'm not going to sleep, you're going to sleep.
Wake up, big guy. What did Fad say to me? Hold on, let me pull this up.
So for context, this was Izzy versus Alex, mix-up being Alex. I previously said on our previous episode, if you have not watched it, you may as well go back and watch it. If you like the comedy you're seeing here, you're going to see the comedy from the last 6 episodes or something like that. But basically I was saying Fad, although may win, Mix-up will bring hell, and all he needs is 1 lead hook with Pereira and his power. And basically, Mix-up showed, yeah, that's relatively true. The issue is Mix-up suffered the same thing Alex Pereira does IRL, that's yet to come back and bite him in the ass properly, in which, apologies, is his defense. It's purely defense when it comes to Potan. If you let go of your defense for 1 second, you can get clipped, you can get destroyed, and that's kind of the way it goes. So although he's got power, his defense isn't always as tight.
Yeah. So Fatinator said, not the best showing, but a win's a win. I started having way too much fun in there, throwing too many head kicks. And then he said, me having a close fight is basically viewed as a loss.
So Mix-up versus Fad 2 at some point in the near future, hopefully?
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like Fatinator's not done with that, and that Fatinator definitely sees him as a worthy rematch and would definitely take him again in the future if he were to earn that spot again.
Well, I mean, I look forward to it. I don't know about you. I definitely look forward to it.
Oh my god, I look forward to it. I look forward to it every time Fatinator fights because because it's either going to be a dog walking or we're going to see a star be made. And I know mix-ups has been around for a long time.
Well, we could like knowing who Fad's going to fight. Should we move on to PT 115 and talk about that one?
Fad's defending his belt on this card as well?
But we get to see who's going to be fighting him next week. And possibly who's going to be fighting on PS next week, since next week is our last card. So we may run 2 title fights. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, who is the
number one contender?
Number one contender, yeah.
It is Ken Muir, who beat Intro, versus Call Me Swag. Now this guy's been out of the picture for a bit. He went 3-0 to begin with. He's taken a couple of weeks off. He's come back literally at the right moment, at the right time. It really is. Like, it just happened that way. Like, otherwise he probably wouldn't be in the title picture. But sometimes that's the way it goes. Like, if you some days people just get lucky and you end up being at the right place at the right time and you get the right fight, and then here you are now in a co-main of PT 115.
I didn't like him at first.
Why?
I was not a fan of Call Me Swag at first because I will not call you Swag, sir. I am Swaggy. However,
exactly.
I come to realize
he's Swag, you're Swaggy.
I am Swaggy. Yes, I know,
Not
but like it's a part of the brand.
Correctly.
It's a part of the brand. You know, I want. I got big plans. Future. Drop little.
I thought you were going to start rapping on me for a second. It's part of the plan and stuff like that.
Little energy drinks called Swag. It's all part of the plan. However, if this Call Me Swag kid is really this good, I can't do that. However, I like him now. I like him because anybody that even vocabularily thinks of the word swag, you're cool in my book. So honestly, but the thing is, Ken Muir's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Muir's a dog, and I'm not just saying that because I call everybody a dog. Ken Muir is literally a dog. Ken Muir is fucking crazy. Ken Muir out here big bussin' in any fight he's in, and now he's in the co-main event against Call Me Swag, who hasn't been around for a while. Ken Muir might feel disrespected by this. Why did this guy get to hold out for a number one contender shot? I've been here, right? So that might be a little bit more fuel to the fire for Ken Muir, where Ken Muir might put on an ass whooping because he's pissed. But Call Me Swag's probably been out there training. Call Me Swag's been out there in the cold, running on the snowy mountains, boxing out there in the wilderness. Call Me Swag's getting ready. He been nowhere to be found for the last 3 weeks. He been fucking chopping down trees with the lumberjacks, building up the biceps.
Swag, Dr. Kush going off.
This one's gonna be a war. This one's gonna mark my word. No. If this isn't fight of the night, next time I'm in the comms booth after this fight, I will wear the bald cap. The entire time in the in the comms booth, I will wear a bald cap.
You heard it here first, ladies and gents.
And I'll match with Cyrus.
Jesus.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna have to. I'm not gonna have to because this is gonna be fight of the night. I'm not gonna have to.
You're going to be in their corners telling them that stuff. You're going to be the guy shouting in the corners of UFC 5 going, fight of the night, fight of the night, fight of the night. Absolutely mental. I've never seen you get riled up so hard over a singular fight. And that's just the co-main, ladies and gentlemen. We've still got the main event to talk about.
Smudger versus Vanio?
Yeah, that'll be the one. Do you want to hear their picks?
I do want to hear the picks.
So we are at middleweight, and we have Smudger as Izzy Adesanya, and we have Vanio as Alex Poton Pereira. And so I keep proceeds to look through his notes.
Who's Pereira?
Vanio.
And Smudger is Izzy.
Yep.
Oh, we saw this last week.
Yep.
So I just went through my notes. And
What, the
listen,
ones that just say +1 +1 +1 = 2?
Well, no, like I'm looking at. I was mainly
Is that
looking
an
at
actual
Smudger's old.
notepad, or is that just a bunch of pages stuck together?
No, it's a notebook. It's a notebook.
I'm gonna say it looks like a bunch of pages just shoved together.
It's a legit notebook. It's legit all PT notes. It's pages of PT bullshit. However, wait. So yeah. So listen, Smudger likes to start his fights off fast. Smudger likes to start his fights off quick. He's gonna come in and he's gonna do his thing, but he's gonna try to read you at the same time. Vanio doesn't show much. Vanio doesn't show much because one thing Smudger likes to do, Smudger did it against Blackout very early. He made fight ending adjustments very early in that fight, which led him to get the victory. He makes adjustments that like lead him in the correct directions very early. Vanio doesn't show much. Vanio doesn't show much till later in the fight. Vanio will start off very slow. Vanio will show one thing at a time throughout the rounds. Vanio wants to go to the distance. That's what I got from Vanio's last fight. I wasn't familiar with his game, and if he fights like he fought against Ripe, against Smudger, and he can hang in there like he did against Ripe, I see this fight going to the 5th round. I see this fight possibly going to decision. Like you don't really know because Vanio's Piera. And like we saw with mix-ups and Fad, which they're completely different fighters, but mix-ups was up in that fight. But he gassed out due to Piera just having a shit gas tank and him throwing a large volume of strikes. Vanio likes to start off slow, so I don't know if he'll gas out. I don't know if he'll be able to hold that stem. And if he can hold the stem, that's fucking dangerous to have a good amount of stem with Alex Piera later in the fight. Now, Smudger and Izzy have a very weird relationship because I don't think Smudger's lost a lot with Izzy.
Yeah, I mean, he was using Izzy way back in UFC 4, which I'll admit is fucking weird. Like, if you go back and remember the UFC 4 meta, it was Robert Whittaker 9 times out of 10, Marvin Mattori.
Yeah.
It's shit like that. It was never Izzy. But yet somehow
Smudger's
he picked Izzy. So it's like, okay.
Smudger's always used Izzy. So I don't know how to feel about that. As to where like you had valid points with the Fatinator.
I feel like this is kind of the same fight.
But it's not. It's not. Because Fatinator and Smudger are completely different champions.
Yes. No, that I agree with. But the execution and the idea behind it of what you would want to set up as a game plan is the same, in my opinion. Especially when you're fighting both of them are very domineering champions who are good everywhere. Fad's good on the ground, Smudger's good on the ground, Fad's good at striking, so is Smudger. Smudger's, I would argue, more technical, Fad's more able to stick the pressure on when needed. Not to say he isn't technical, he's just more of a pressure-based striker. Those are the differences in terms of their fighters. However, both of them can still run into issues of getting caught randomly. Smudger's been shown in the past where he's been able to get caught. UFC 4, he got caught by 3 or 4 B3 guys who were really heavy on the striking, and just one big counter won them the belt each time. In this one, we haven't really seen it. He's gone 5-0, so he's yet to really come across someone who's bound to catch him fully. I think Vanio's kind of in the same place, but that was also the same time last week with Fad versus Mix-Ups, where we didn't see anybody really properly able to catch Fad on the feet until Mix-Ups came about and then used it with PrimeTime. So, yeah, I think that's genuine case. I think it's very weird to see champions who have the first pick Izzy out instead of Potan. Potan's got the power, he's got the more susceptibility. Yeah, okay, maybe his cardio's maybe not the best, but if you're a champion, that cardio doesn't mean much. And if you're looking for like submissions, even on bottom, you've still got a triangle choke with Pereira. So I don't see it as big of an issue there either. And Izzy's not that much different. If anything, Potan's better because of the move levels and because of the stats, I would argue. So, yeah, I feel like this title fight is is the equivalent of mix-ups versus Fad. And it could happen very differently because, as you mentioned, Smudger isn't Fad.
Yeah, and Fad was able to stick in even despite being brought to the deep waters, and I don't know if
Smudger can go 5 rounds. That's a fact.
Yeah, but I don't know if he can go 5 rounds with Vanio.
He's gone 5 rounds with Go. I think he's gone 5 rounds with CV.
B3 Go?
Yeah.
Alright, this shouldn't offend him because J Dime says it all the time, but he's very one-dimensional. He can't strike. Moving on, CV...
just move on.
CV, who I do, breaking news, CV will be returning early 2024.
Hey, let's go. I think Attican's returning early 2024 as well, which is wild. He dates
CV's
back.
a little prick though. CV's a little prick though because CV DMs me and goes, "I got news for you."
Oh, no.
Makes me wait 3 days. I respond and say, "What's up?" Makes me wait 3 days and goes, "I'm coming back in 2024, but there's more." And I say, "What's good?" He has not responded.
No, he's going to respond. I'm coming to Xbox. That's what he's going to say. I think Attica.
Be something.
I don't know. I think Attica might be coming to Xbox on 2024, which would be a wild one to see.
Oh my fucking CV, bro. But yeah, nah. Moving on. What was I saying? Smudger.
Yeah.
Smudger and Vanio. Vanio lets the dog out late, so I don't know. But Smudger is that guy. Like, not taking anything away from Smudger at all. Smudger's that fucking guy. Like, pound for pound right now in the PlayStation division, he seems untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after his last fight against Blackout, he legit seems untouchable right now. And I'm really excited to see what Vanio does with this fight, with this opportunity, with this chance to touch Smudger. I'm very excited to see this because I think Vanio has a very good chance taking this title.
I mean, that's a very fair assessment.
I'm not taking anything away from Smudger here. Smudger,
you're sounding
Smudger's
like
that fucking guy.
And here's different. I'm not calling him insane. Go back to looking last week. He was calling me completely insane for saying any of this.
Because listen, Smudger.
Nah, listen. They're
Smudger could wipe the floor with Vanio, right? Smudger could come in and prove me completely wrong. Smudger, the first 3 rounds of the fight could literally shine his shoes with Alex Pereira's face, and then just end the fight whenever he decides with whatever he feels like doing, and just be like, "Fuck you, Swaggy."
Mm-hmm.
But I generally feel like we're not gonna see that from Smudger this weekend. That's just me. I can see that you have a completely different opinion on this. You think I'm fucking bonkers?
Yeah, sure. We can go with that.
Out of my mind.
But I just think that you're saying the same thing I said about mix-ups, and then but then you don't see it in the same light. So I'm just thinking like you've built up Vanio in your head quite a lot when Smudger's still realistically the most technical guy we've seen on PS. Because
Smudger's better. Smudger's better.
And
from what we've seen, Smudger's better.
And that's the thing you've got to remember is technical means that they're consistently technical across any rounds. If you're technical, you're also very unlikely to gas consistently. Unless your opponent doesn't. And as you mentioned, he doesn't really show a lot. So, yeah, okay, that's going to be more difficult to Smudger. But as soon as he shows 1 or 2 things, Smudger's going to catch on to it realistically very quickly. And that's the thing. That's why both Smudger and Fad are champs, is they can make very quick adjustments even in between rounds.
Oh, yeah, I do know that. I did mention the Fad likes, not Fad, Smudger likes to make quick adjustments, and that's what put Blackout out so early. But I feel like Vanio has the style to bring Smudger to the deep waters and kind of enable him of beating his ass bad for a couple rounds. However, I could be very wrong here, because I do, on the other side, I do still think that, like, it's not like Smudger's lost a step or anything. Smudger's still as elite as he was yesterday. Just the thing is, like, I do generally believe, like, this could be Vanio breaking out right here. This could be Vanio breaking out and absolutely taking this belt.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I have no doubt about that. I really don't have any doubt about
But
it.
He's still the underdog.
Yeah,
just because I said it, he's still the underdog. My odds,
if Swaggy says it,
just because of my feelings, my odds don't change. My odds don't change.
Okay,
on the co-main event, here are my official PT Channel Point odds.
Okay, let's hear. For Kemure versus Call Me Swag at lightweight, both of them 3-0.
Call Me Swag is a plus 250, with Ken Muir being the minus 250 favorite.
Okay, Doug.
Why do I say that? Because Ken Muir's been here. Ken Muir's been active. Ken Muir's been actively ass whooping people. Why is it not such a massive underdog? Because, like I said, Swag's out there in the mountains. Swag's running in the snow. Swag's boxing the trees. Swag's working hard to make his comeback. He wants that gold. He wants to eat Fatinator's soul. He's fucking coming. And then moving on to the finals. Moving on to the main
event of Smudger 5-0 versus Vanio 3-0 at the middleweight division.
Vanio is a plus 800 underdog, with Smudger being the minus 650 favorite.
What? Hang on. You've just been smoking blokes. Hang on. Smoking smoke up Vanio's ass for like last 10 minutes plus.
Still didn't get it right.
You get the idea of the turn of phrase. I fucking fucked it up, but English is not a great language for me, even though it's more.
So listen, just because I feel like Vanio could break out and win this here, doesn't mean
he's apparently a plus 800 according to you.
Doesn't mean that on paper he's not getting his ass whooped. Like
plus 800 is mental.
On paper, he gets his ass whooped, Doc. It's Smudger.
Well then, I guess we'll wait and see. That's fucking batshit insane.
Smudger using Izzy is like, for me, Blackout using Nick Diaz. Is Blackout on this card?
Yeah, he is. He's fighting at a lightweight.
He's fighting at lightweight. Yeah. So we might see who's he fighting?
He's fighting Luke Sav.
It's gonna be a bad day for Luke. I know Luke. It's gonna be a bad day for Luke. R.I.P. Luke. Listen, if Blackout is this on the main card?
Yeah, it's on the main card.
4.5 star.
Yeah. Yep.
Pride Nick Diaz with Blackout, baby.
If he doesn't get banned.
Fucking go.
If he doesn't get banned. Which, I mean, if I'm Luke Sav, I've got to be honest, I'm banning it because I'm not insane.
Oh my god, I'm banning it so fast. I'm like, I always ban people's favorite fighters.
One of the first times I competed in PT after the input of our new rule about banning fighters, Damian Maya got banned for me. And I had to go cams at someone instead. It was really fucking annoying.
Yeah, Max Holloway gets banned often for me now.
It's understandable. I'd rather not deal with you. I'd rather not deal with you cartwheeling about the place.
It's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, nah, like the roll, not the Rolling Thunder, the Blackout situation with Nick Diaz is gonna be nuts.
Yeah,
and I'm really excited to see him use that Nick Diaz. But yeah, any other very exciting? I'm not looking at the card right now. Any very exciting?
Rolling Thunder on the card? Yeah, Rolling Thunder fighting Josh at featherweight. He's just after Blackout.
Throwing Thunder to the fucking wolves, man!
Rolling Thunder has been at rank 1 for the last 2 weeks. He's now.
Can you give my guy
the man's 5-3, yet he's ranked 4. He's been fighting killers and winning against killers.
Don't worry, Thunder. Don't worry, baby. You're gonna get me on next week's main con. I'm gonna make sure of it. Don't worry. You're getting an easy fight, big guy. That's crazy. That's gonna be a good fight because Josh is very rude. However, I do see that fight being good because Josh might be a dick, but he's really good at this game, and and he's a striker. Thunder.
So that's gonna be interesting because I mean,
but Thunder is also a striker, but he's not a normal striker. He's Rolling Thunder. We're all very aware of him now.
Yeah, he's Mr. Sprinkle Winkles, but on crack.
I'm surprised we haven't seen Mr. Winkle Sprinkles yet.
You know what? So am I. I haven't looked at any of the casts this game. I've used them on online career mode, painfully, but I haven't looked at any of the actual cast archetypes.
Nah, I haven't really used any online.
I haven't seen Moroccan Lion about a place. Last time I saw Moroccan Lion, it was with the bicycle kick glitch. Flying through the air, yeah. Fucking what? Mental.
I remember that because I saw a quoted tweet and they were like, "Nah, that Alex Piero alter ego is nuts," and I said, "No, bro, look closer. That's his calf."
Yeah, indeed. So we have been going for 51 minutes.
That's a long episode.
Yeah, this is going to be a long episode. Should we? When we still got the swag bag and scum bucket.
I don't have a swag bag, but the scum bucket. Yeah, none of you guys impressed me.
Wow, nobody impressed you, Jesus.
I didn't really. There were a lot of impressing fights. There was a lot of fights that impressed me, but I don't have a swag bag.
At least we didn't go for 3 decisions off the start.
Yeah, that's true. I gave 2 swag bags last week, so I'm not giving one this week.
Yeah, okay.
We're gonna cut out the part where I said none of y'all impressed me. No, I'm kidding. But swag.
That's staying in.
Scum bucket. It's fuck. It's was it fuck? No, it's Abdul. It's Abdul. I'm sorry, fuck. I'm so sorry.
I was very confused for 2 seconds because we had the discussion between this and I'm going, wow, what? Fuck?
I looked at your face and I went, wait, nah, fuck, you weren't even up for discussion this week.
Congratulations, I ain't fuck. I don't know if
congrats
or not.
Congrats on that. You weren't even up for discussion. But Abdul, scum bucket of the week, and it's not even because you got suspended. It's because you dragged us out on fucking 4 weeks of figuring out what kind of fighter you were, and then you jump into this fight. You just fucking you flying triangle. You're pulling guard. You're doing everything you possibly can to stay on the ground. We figured out you're a grappler. Congratulations, Abdul.
Have scum bucket, the tiniest bucket in the world.
Scum bucket of the week, baby. Congratulations. I'm gonna give out a gold scum bucket of the year, I think, for our New Year's episode in 2 weeks. So look out for that.
Yeah, apparently we are. Okay, apparently according to Swag, we are doing a New Year's episode in 2 weeks. I wasn't. We had a couple discussions about this. Our Christmas special will be next week. You'll see us in some type of attire. I'm still not particularly sure what. Last time at Halloween, Swaggy showed up as humble of all people. So
yes.
Be a bit scared to that coming in future. Yeah,
I can't find my Santa suit, so y'all should be alright. But yeah, no, that's
be the skinniest Santa I've ever seen.
You can't speak today.
No, I can't. It's fucking wild. Well, I suppose we've talked a lot. I'm gonna say we've talked a lot. We've discussed a lot. I don't think half of us have made any sense, especially me with my ability to speak. Yeah. Have fun listening to one of the longest episodes I think we've done to date. And with all that being said, I've been your host, the Doctor. This has been Swaggy Dr. Kush. You can catch him out on twitch.com at the same similar name. I will also link it down in the description. Yeah, I'll stick it in the link in the description for you. But with all that being said, this has been PrimeTime What? Swag Takeover. Jesus.
This has been PrimeTime Post-mortem. Also catch us live on Primetime MMA, Twitch, and YouTube for Primetime 115 this Saturday.
8:30.
Headlined by Smudger versus Vanio. We will see y'all there.
8:30 GMT, 3:30 Eastern. And with that, as Swaggy said, have a good night. Adios.